Well, hey there, diet disruptors. I am so thrilled to be able to share and introduce to you what will be a masterclass in all things hormones. If you are ready for this, Dr. Sarah Daccarett is here. She is a leading expert in anti-aging, biohacking, natural hormone therapy, working with women to find alternatives to traditional hormone replacement therapies. She's such a wealth of information. She is a disruptor of the whole hormone industry, the whole hormone, like mistruth, misdemeanors. And I love other women that are disrupting the status quo. She's super passionate about women's health. And she wants to make sure that we all receive the attention that we deserve when it comes to not needing to settle for normal, but that we can feel exceptional because we are exceptional. Sarah, thank you for being here. I'm super excited to talk. We were talking even before we started this, and we have so much synergy between what we teach, and I can't wait for everyone to start
Same.
from you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so
This is going to
excited.
be fun. This is going to be fun. So, one of the things I always say is that when we talk about weight gain or even stubborn weight loss, I say weight gain is a symptom. And that word is so important because we keep going after the symptom instead of the root cause. But weight gain is a symptom of health and hormones. And let's start digging into what I mean when I say that with your expertise.
No, you're right. I love it. No, it is a symptom. It is like a sign that something is off, and typically hormones can be at the core of that something is off. And it's just confusing because women have three hormones that we need to account for. We are more complicated than men. So when we
And
use
maybe every way.
like we're literally different species than men. And so for men, it's a little bit easier. They can raise their testosterone and lose weight. For women, it's a lot more complicated with the dynamics of the ovaries and how it plays with insulin and everything. So let's get into it, like the specific reasons why women are more complicated in weight gain and hormonal therapy.
Oh, yeah, let's go. Literally, a hormonal master class is what we're going to call this. So let's tap in because I think at the root we hear the words like estrogen, testosterone, all of these and do we really understand it? Because I have clients whose doctors are giving them extra testosterone and they are really struggling with weight loss, and then others that are giving them extra estrogen. And it's not that it's a one size fits all, but I just think we need to start just from scratch, helping us understand these hormones.
I agree. Like we really need to just almost throw everything we know up in the air, like toss it up, forget
Amen.
about it almost, and then just start over from scratch because I think we've really, really gotten it wrong and confused women a lot, and they are confused. And I don't think people get it. Like we're even doctors and specialists and all of the studies, for example, are done on men. Hey, we know that if we give men testosterone replacement therapy, they lose weight, but that doesn't mean that the same thing applies to women, which we always apply the findings for studies to women.
Always.
And yes,
The
women
amount of
need.
fasting studies that I have found that involve women are like none.
Yeah, and we're totally different. Like our ovaries, for example, are completely sensitive to insulin. Insulin will bind and signal an ovary. Well, I don't know if it does the same thing to testes in men. So we definitely change our hormones are impacted directly from our diet, for example, like in a younger woman. And if you're an older woman on hormone replacement therapy, then you'll even see a fluctuation with your diet too. So like it's important to really take into account both if you're looking at weight loss.
Which is why everything I teach is BS. Blood sugar, then behavioral science and our belief systems. But the BS of our blood sugar, it infiltrates every aspect of our health, as well as, mental health, cravings, also energy, all sorts of things. And so how do you explain to your clients really that true connection between insulin and you know, all of the other pieces of the puzzle when it comes to our hormonal balance?
What I see is everything from hormones perspective, because I feel they're so powerful in the body. They literally will even bind to the genome, and change and alter our expression of like feminine features, for example. Nothing in the body has more power than hormones. Even insulin is a hormone. So this is in
Right.
vitamin
I
C.
often say once one hormone is off, they're all kind of thrown off. So
Yeah, and so like women are like, oh, my blood sugar. Like blood sugar is not doing this to you. Like it is, right? Because you're like
right.
the blood sugar is rising, but what is giving you that irritability or that crash or the change in mood or the headache or the sleepless night or what is it that's doing that? And that's because disrupted a hormone,
Right.
for sure.
Because when our blood sugar is dysregulated, it's releasing all of that extra insulin. We become insulin resistant. But again, once one hormone is off, it throws off everything.
And exactly. And so what is insulin doing? So insulin is signaling the ovary, like it'll bind to the ovary and the ovary will release more testosterone too. And like not only so you
Wow.
like cycle. So what happens to women when they become insulin resistant, for example, is their testosterone is also rising. And we know that insulin resistance causes weight gain, but what also is causing that weight gain and it involves testosterone in its core because
It's like
one.
one thing triggers another,
No,
right?
absolutely. And you can't just lower one. Like, so for example, if you look at the polycystic ovarian syndrome patient, which we see a lot of it in younger women, we see it as we're older, we're getting hair on our face or
I get a
losing
lot of
hair. So
people.
even when we see insulin resistance and you haven't been diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome, but you see like chin hairs and hair loss and weight gain, you have it kind of starting this insulin resistance. So you can't just, and in my opinion, you can't just lower that. You can try, but it is harder to lower the insulin resistance and get the testosterone to get lower. You have to treat the brain, which is lowering the LH first, and then you can get the ovary to stop releasing so much
Say more
testosterone.
about that. What do you mean by lowering the LH? This is so interesting.
So what happens too is we age, and this happens really early for women. Everybody like jokes that women like reach their peak at 30, and I have to kind of say that our hormones do drop after the age of 30. And I'm sorry, but it's universal. We're all going through it. And after the age of 30, they drop by like 80%. It is aging, it is biology, it is nothing you did. It's not because,
Right.
some women don't recover from birth control and there's a lot of toxins in the environment, and I get that it's happening, but don't blame yourself. Like just recognize that it's biology and it's happening and but you do have control over if you understand what's happening. So progesterone drops, which is our main hormone. Okay, progesterone is our main hormone. It is not just for having babies. It's not just for the uterus or getting pregnant. We literally need it for like every process in the body to maintain our blood pressure, breathing, brain, sleep. So when this hormone goes away, the LH, which is luteinizing hormone, the brain starts to release more of it. It also releases FSH. And these hormones, what the body is brain is like, oh my gosh, give me more hormones. That stimulates the ovaries to make more. But what LH does is it stimulates the production of testosterone in women. And so when you're missing your main hormone, progesterone, you'll start making more of the other one, which testosterone is much easier for the body to make. The adrenal glands can make it, the ovaries can make it easier than estrogen and progesterone. And there's other pathways that eliminate progesterone faster, for example. So when women get older over the age of 30 and they're gaining weight, and I even see women, I believe them. I'm doing everything. I'm doing the diet. I'm doing even your diet. I'm doing like all of this stuff. And what is happening and why can't I it's like I'm running in place. Like
Yeah.
literally, I'm at the gym 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
And I believe them because what's happening is the body is making what it can, which is testosterone. The testosterone causes the weight gain, which we can stop and talk about this because this is not the current accepted belief about testosterone in women.
Right.
So a lot of doctors will tell women, your estrogen's too high. You actually need to lower your estrogen or raise your testosterone, and then you will lose weight.
And
And
and how are they determining that?
well, so labs can show are
Right.
very misleading.
But
So
aren't
like
they showing labs at like a particular time, like a
yes,
period of time, like a moment in time?
we're all over the place at any point
Right.
because the body is like shuffling them from tissue to tissue, from the urine to the saliva to the blood to the brain. It's moving them all over the body, and you happen to catch it. But what also we know is that they're stored in like testosterone is probably stored in the fat, and we know that the fat converts testosterone to estrogen. And so we're not picking up this high testosterone level necessarily because we're not measuring the fat. But I'm just throwing it out there. This is a possibility. Like everybody needs to think about it. But we
That
are
no, but let's
measuring.
say that again, because if the testosterone is being stored in our fat cells and it gets converted to estrogen, and we're testing, like that could be part of the reason why it looks like quote unquote high estrogen, but it's really being caused by testosterone.
You got it. And so we'll target
Amazing.
and make it work. Like, yeah. And so women will notice they'll like, okay, I'm going to lower my estrogen and raise my testosterone. And they get worse. Their insulin resistance gets worse. They're a mess. They get irritable, bloated, they gain more weight. And they're like, what's going on? I'm trying to, like, for years, I've been lowering my estrogen. And well, because you're lowering the one hormone that actually is protecting you and you're raising the one that's probably aging you more. And yes, I don't want to give anybody the impression that testosterone is not important in women. It is. But we're like, telling women that this is like what they need to do to lose weight. And let's back up a little bit too. Let's think about it. If you are a polycystic ovarian syndrome patient or You are gaining weight over the age of 30. You're making more testosterone. Your body is like, I can't, this is not my hormone. It's making me lose
Wait,
my
I'm
hair.
not I'm not understanding this.
I am going to store it in a place where I know I can convert it to my primary hormone. And this is a way that I can make estrogen because I'm struggling.
This
So
is
the
what's so
body,
amazing about our bodies, right? Like I always say, your body's trying to be your best friend.
it's
It's trying to
intelligent.
protect you.
Yes, your body is so intelligent and the mechanisms that we have are protective. So for example, we now know that women who gain weight, for example, that is a protective mechanism. The body is trying to reduce inflammation. Women and who are really thin and have inflammation and they don't gain weight, they're more likely to get cancer. So we've seen this
Yes.
in like more, I don't know if you've seen this in more recent studies. This is kind of interesting, right? So you'll see thin women. So the weight gain is actually the protective mechanism against the body to reduce inflammation.
And that's why I always talk about the fact that like we have to stop using a number on a scale to determine our health and to have goals. Like when we get to our optimal health, we're going to get to our optimal weight, and we don't need a scale to tell us we're gaining weight. Let's be honest. We know.
I don't want it. I like don't want like it's too. I
No.
don't be I just don't have a scale. Like I think, I need to feel good and like you need to feel light and I think you can if you were to just pay attention. We look at labs and numbers and data and scales and we need to turn inward
Hmm.
too and like really recognize like how am I feeling? Am I irritable? Like do I feel heavy and bloated? And like, I think the body, like we said before, it's intelligent and knows what it's doing. But you're gaining the weight because it's like protecting itself, probably, I would argue, from the inflammation. So, what is the inflammation being caused by? So, the immune system in women is so critical. Like, if you want to look at, and the best way to keep yourself from aging, the best way to keep yourself from getting cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and aging in general, or like just getting sick in the winter, like just say I just don't want to get sick in the winter, it is your immune system.
Hmm.
Inflammation, what is that? Like everybody talks about it. Everybody's like anti-inflammatory diet this and anti-inflammatory. When I started learning about this years ago, I'm like, what does that even mean? Like you guys, everybody just they throw around that word inflammation. I
Yep.
don't think
And
we
then
have
these
to
are the
talk about
top five
it.
foods so you cannot have inflammation. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Like seed oils, like when people are like, okay, this causes inflammation. I'm like, do you even know what I know what that means, but do you know what that means? And so yeah, I'm going to break it down to like everybody that's listening. The
Love it.
very basic, what is inflammation? And it just means a dysregulated immune system. The immune system is really like complex. The B cells and the T cells and everything are supposed to be in the right ratio. I mean, they're like it's there and it's supposed to be like organized to fight a pathogen. Something that's if you're getting like a hive or a rash to a laundry soap, your immune system doesn't know the difference between like a harmful thing and a non-harmful thing. It's
Oh,
completely disorganized.
yeah.
So if you have gut inflammation or brain inflammation, like your immune system is attacking itself. It's confused. It thinks food is dangerous. It thinks that peanuts are, I mean, whatever like your allergen is that's
Yep. Yep.
assaulting you, it thinks it's not dangerous, right? Like we're supposed to be fighting viruses and bacteria and cancer and things that are really dangerous to us. So if you have inflammation, it just means that your immune system is unregulated. And what regulates the immune system? Sorry, I'll let you talk in a second. I was like,
Go, yo, go, go, go.
progesterone and estrogen, women's hormones directly bind to the immune system and regulate it. So when they're gone, you're going to get a whole bunch of inflammation.
And I mean, think about this. We often think about immune system in terms of just getting sick. I hear that a lot, like around just basic cold, flu, like, and I just keep thinking like the whole body is speaking to us right now, right? And I love the way you've just broken that down because now we can talk about the immune system, really how there's like this straight line around our immune system and inflammation and our hormone and all of that wraps into right our gut health and kind of that belief that that's like our second brain, but you're drawing such a straight line across and it just makes no sense in some ways when we try to approach the situation with like one thing that we think is going to fix everything. We have
Right.
to just keep getting to the root foundation. But even in the root foundation, like you and I were talking earlier, it's like how we eat is super, super important. And, PFC3 and what we teach is really balancing our blood sugar. But with all of the other pieces around the hormonal imbalance and what we're bringing to the table at the age that we're finally starting to figure this out, all plays a role in this.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, it like just to keep drawing the straight line so that people can picture it and see it and understand it. Truly, there is a straight line, like inflammation. We
Mhm.
think diabetes and insulin resistance is an inflammatory, it's an immune system problem. And we're raising this inflammation specifically with our diet. Like, so if we're eating the wrong diet, like things that are inflammatory, insulin, like things that raise insulin will be inflammatory. Let's say because they're also raising hormones that are inflammatory. So I tend to be
Yes.
like, hormones are really protective, but the hormones that are inflammatory are like insulin and testosterone because it converts to DHT in women, and DHT is going to disrupt your immune system and make more weight gain, more
Say more
inflammation.
about what DHT is.
DHT is a hormone
There's
convert
so
that
many.
I know there's so many. That's the problem. There's pathways in the body that also to protect itself, but testosterone converts to DHT, and DHT is the one that will make you grow hair on your face, lose your hair, get acne, bloated, gain weight, slows down gut health, really, really messes with the immune system, can make you very sick. Like when we think about like it's not high estrogen. I just want, if I could say it like 100 times during this call with you, if women would understand that estrogen is not causing their inflammation, it is this hormone, like a lot of these other hormones like DHT, and this is directly related to diet, like which is what you were, originally talking about. That you've noticed in your practice and working with women is that certain foods, and you know better than I, that will raise this hormone DHT.
Today's episode is brought to you by Resist Protein Bars. Now, I'll be the first to tell you, yes, of course, you want to be eating clean, whole, unprocessed food as much as possible, but also we're busy, right? And so we have to still be able to fuel our body in a way that it loves. And protein bars are often a really good source of fueling. However, the problem is there's so many ones on the market that either spike your blood sugar uncontrollably or they're filled with all sorts of nasty ingredients. And to be honest with you, most of them are both. That's why I love Drew and Emily, two women who decided they were going to crack the code on how you can produce a protein bar that not only tastes great, but also has wonderful ingredients and won't spike your blood sugar. Think about the name Resist, like insulin resistance. Blood sugar balance is what they are all about. I love that they are a company of women that also are a company that cares about what we put in our body. So if you are interested to try as a great meal replacement to one of your PFC meals, check out eatresist.com and use the code PFC315 to get 15% off.
It's the way that I approach it. And when we talk about food and balancing protein, fat, and carb and making sure that, as we look at our data on a continuous glucose monitor, that we can see that we're just in this nice fluid kind of place in the middle. And what you're really, because I'll often say it impacts our blood sugar regulation, our insulin resistance. But what you're doing is you're taking it to this whole nother really specific level of exactly how it's impacting our hormones and why then those are causing all of these issues. So let's say, okay, we're focused on food. We're focused on, not just trying to have our body, it's not only that our body has to try to balance its blood sugar on its own on a regular basis. We are doing so many things that exasperate the problem that it's why I think so many women just feel like I just, because you could eat healthy, quote unquote, and still cause your blood sugar, your insulin to just get all out of whack. So I have a question a little bit about insulin, because most doctors, whenever my clients are going to get their blood work done, they're not getting their insulin levels tested. It's just their glucose. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, it's just really, really poor training in medical school. Like, I think if people understood that doctors are very good at like acute care.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a heart attack, if you need your life saved, literally, like they'll save your life. Like, doctors are and nurses are really, really good at like acute care, trauma, doing something acutely and getting you out of the hospital. That's what they're trained to do,
Yeah.
getting you back into your life. in terms of like wellness and prevention and like feeling great every day, zero training. So like there's zero training in hormone. Like they say they get trained in hormones, but it's more about like what if you had a pituitary tumor or you have
Right.
really like rare diseases that need to be managed. So doctors are really smart. I don't want to like, but they're not trained on like what you do. Like they're not going to be able to do that. So they don't understand this.
Or what you do.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They don't. It's very true. So like even OB-GYNs, they think they know about hormones, but no, they know how to deliver babies. Like there's a whole different thing between anti-aging, longevity, and delivering a baby. And so like if people just let's stop expecting that from their doctor and they just realize they just need to go to a specialist like you or like me or like somebody who does that very special thing. You would never go see a dentist for your back pain.
I
It's like,
know, but we don't understand that in this country. And what's worse is that I think now my number one clients are doctors, so I hear this from them all the time, but they believe that they can support them with what they know.
yep,
So they're not going to say, "Hey, I'm a dentist. I can't work on your back."
it's true. They don't know what they don't know,
Mhm.
actually. So like the doctors, they don't understand that insulin like does tell a story. They don't understand that insulin is disrupting. They also have to learn a lot in 4 years, so they can't learn everything. So
Well,
like I
that's
think
a really good point because to be
expecting
able
them
to
to
save somebody's life the way that they do, like I have watched every episode of The Resident, which is like a very big commitment, by the way. And what they can do to like take a heart out of somebody and put a heart in somebody else, I can't believe that only takes 4 years of training, right?
probably and then all the surgery.
And
But
then all the other.
the point is they can't know everything, and they love to think that they do, and it's okay. Like we can give them a break too.
Well, because the knowledge works together. And I think this is what's so important. It's these to me are these puzzle pieces that each one of us can bring to the table. We don't have to fight against each other.
Right, right. But like, doctors don't spend like all day trying to make people lose weight and feel better like you do, or or I do. Like, and so you see it in and out, and that's where the special training and experience comes from. And you recognize that you do need to look at insulin levels because they would be elevated, whereas the doctor would be like, well, I just need to diagnose diabetes or not it. And they're meeting like certain criteria.
Right.
And then actual guidelines and criteria talk about glucose, even though it's like really poor test. We have better ones. Even now they're starting to recognize hemoglobin A1C as maybe an alternative, but it's like, what about insulin? They still don't really recognize it. But the point is that they just need to meet that criteria in order to get insurance to cover your diabetes therapy, which is, you know what I mean? So they're
Right.
still following a process and protocol. They don't really have the time to think outside the box and really like get into it like you are to really understand it. Like, what is causing your weight? I don't know. We've tried everything. What is causing your weight gain?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, but I know that we can advocate for ourselves and we can advocate for insulin testing and things like that. But when you're looking with your clients and they come to you and they're like, let's say it's somebody that I'm working with, and you know that they've been working on balancing their blood sugar through food, right? And they've been working on their relationship with food and not dieting and all that stuff. What are you doing next to kind of figure out next steps for them?
So I look at it like a little bit different than you. Like, so they're synergistic, but I would look at it from just because because I'm a hormone expert and not a
Yeah.
diet, like necessarily
Yeah.
what you. So it's like instead I would say, well, let's lay the foundation. I think, let's say 70 to 80% of it is hormone therapy, like hormones. So if we give you the right, just make sure that that testosterone's not your highest hormone, because this is what happens as women age. Instead, it needs to just be there, but not your highest. And then progesterone needs to be your highest hormone, and then estrogen and then testosterone. And how can I do this for you? Like I can get this foundation in place for you. And then when you see somebody like you, an expert, you get better results. Because
Right.
like one thing doesn't work. Like if you come to me for hormone replacement therapy, it's probably not, you will actually probably maybe get some results. But if you really want optimal results, then you would need to do them both. Just like if you were to just try a really good diet, you're going to struggle as well because you don't have the foundation in place.
Yep.
But the two together are remarkable. And women also come to me on other hormone replacement therapy because they're like in perimenopause in
Yep.
their, and they're like, I'm struggling with symptoms. And that's weight gain is one of the symptoms, as you mentioned, and that's one of their biggest. Sleep and weight gain are like the two top ones that women are really struggling with. And they've tried everything else and they feel terrible still. I'm on testosterone. I'm lowering my estrogen. I'm doing pellets, like trying all these different things.
Right there are your red flags that are saying, I'm not sure that that's the right,
Well, that's why you still feel terrible and you have it.
right.
So when
It's
and then
huge
also,
learning for all of us. Anybody that's on testosterone or feels like they've been told they have to lower their estrogen
yeah.
to be
And
really big red flags.
I think at first, like you hear on the, they're like Halle Berry or whatever. She was just on like, there's a lot of celebrities and women talking about testosterone replacement therapy. And can you imagine? They say, "Oh, I felt great. Like it changed my life." And yes, at first you do feel better because you're going from zero and everything to something, and your body's like, "Oh, thank goodness I have something." And you do get a rush or a high at first. Can you imagine if you felt that good on a male hormone? How good you would feel if you had your own hormones on board. I just want women to think about that for a second. Like
Yeah.
hormones are so magical and powerful that like if you had this rush of energy from not even your primary hormone, how you would feel with your own progesterone and estrogen. So just to kind of, and if you are on progesterone and estrogen and you don't feel that great, you're on the wrong formulation because currently all the formulations are made for women over the age of 55. Like they really are. They were designed to only reduce the amount of hot flashes you have. We nothing until like Interbalance, so we started that, was made for younger women to reap the benefits of having appropriate hormone replacement therapy. Like in her
And there's a huge gap between 30 and 55.
amazing,
Then
huge. Like
even what they're giving us at 55 may not be.
it's not, they still have symptoms on that. Like you will, if you do a patch and a pill and hormone, like, and that's also why people don't think hormones work. They'll be like, well, I tried the hormone replacement therapy, it didn't work. I'm trying everything. And it's like, yeah, because you tried the formulation that's like microdosing. You didn't get what you needed. And so this is also something that we all need to throw up in the air and redo for women because this is really sad that we do, there is something now that it's innovative, but up until this point, we've just been telling women it's not your hormones. If you're still having a period, your hormones are normal. You know what I mean? Like kind of
Yeah,
gaslight.
yeah. So let's talk about what you've really been able to develop and to be able to do to be able to help uh, with an alternative
Yeah.
to what the kind of common the status quo is.
So I
And you
challenge the
call it
status.
inner balance, right?
Yeah. So I challenge the status quo. It's like my own story maybe can help others. Like I kind of feel like if you can connect that way. So I my mid 30s, like I had a child and then it was like game over. Like the wheels fell off the bus, like nothing came back. And I was gaining weight and I had every symptom, and I was getting sick all the time in my immune system. But what I recognize that the status quo that we are telling women that estrogen is bad for them. Estrogen makes you gain weight. It's making you moody. It's making you not sleep, like all these things. I challenge that. And actually, instead, when you really look at what estrogen does, even for weight, because I was gaining weight as well, and that was new for me. Estrogen, let's talk about Ozempic a little bit. Mounjaro, just really quickly, like these injections,
Okay.
right?
I
They
might
raise,
have to like take my jacket off and get ready, but let's go.
no, like just briefly, we know that they raise GLP-1,
Right,
okay? And
right,
they lower inflammation.
right.
What else does that? Guess. Like I bet, like just guess based on like I leading you up to it.
Well,
Estrogen.
exactly.
Estrogen raises GLP-1 and lowers inflammation, right? So when you like women like are thinking that they need like they're not the root cause is they're not low in they are low in GLP-1.
Right.
But like when you take and you inject something that stimulates GLP-1 or a GLP-1, then you're just a band-aid fix again. Like you're just basically replacing the one thing,
Right.
but the root cause of it is your hormones.
Right. And you're not healing your body.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I was like, well, and then, I replaced estrogen and just kept doing it iteration over iteration over iteration to get these ratios right. And I challenged this just because I tried all of them first, raising testosterone, all the things, and never got better. This was like years in the making, right? Trying to figure this out.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I'm a doctor. If I don't know what's going on, like how are women probably really struggling trying
Yeah,
to
they're
figure
not. They have no idea what's going on, right?
nobody knows what's going on. Like nobody has any idea. So the modern approach and innovative approach is like, look, let's do what for women what we do for men. Like, and if for those of you that out there don't know the gap, we are a decade behind men's health, a decade.
Wow.
Okay. I know that's not going to surprise everybody because we're talking about it all the time now,
Yeah.
but all the like, for example, we know how much testosterone to give men to make him feel his best. Do you want a rock hard body and to be hard all the time and like feel great? We'll give you testosterone where you inject it twice a week.
Mhm.
And we know the labs that do that. We know everything. For women, we've been telling them to wait till they're 55. Wait until you're menopausal. Wait till your period stops. If a 25-year-old man wants testosterone, we'll pour it on him. You want to feel
Yeah,
better.
we will.
But for women who are struggling with endometriosis, PCOS, infertility, anxiety, depression, irritability, weight gain, like the 100 symptoms that women literally like suffer from.
That was me. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so like men have like a little bit of like they don't really they get kind of they gain some weight and get erectile
Right.
dysfunction stuff,
Right.
but they don't feel women really really suffer when their hormones go down. We really need them. Um, and we tell them to wait. No, you're too young to be feeling these. And so we just been ignoring the problem for decades, gaslighting them. There's been no innovation. I want to make that clear. The hormone creams that were developed are like decades old. There's nothing, no innovation in the space for women. So like enter me and I'm like, I want to feel amazing. I'm only 36. Like I am 44 now, but like when I was 36, I was like, I want to feel amazing. I want to look good and feel good as I age. And I know everybody listening wants to too. That's why
Yes.
we spend the fortune on the hair serums and the face cream, like
Yes.
literally the procedures and like
Yes.
great sex in my 40s. Like, I mean, come on, like we all want this, like what we're giving men. Why can't women do the same? So my idea and the innovation is I'm going to get your levels up in the right ratio, like I would a man, and get you a systemic response. Okay, so at least give you the foundation is what like it's foundational, and then what you do is foundational too, and they work together. But it's kind of
Yeah.
like it's hormonal. So
Yeah.
the hard part is getting the hormone into the body. So all the formulations, and you're probably thinking about it because you're in this age group that I am, right? We're the same age. It's like
I'm a
women are
little bit older than you, but that's okay. 50. But
you
it
great.
depends what range you're looking at. If you're saying 40 to 50, we're in the same range.
Totally. So like, there's pills and patches and low
Yes.
dose vaginal cream and like they're putting on 5 different products at one time.
Hmm.
5 in
Hmm.
order to get the basics covered. And that's hot flashes. They want to sleep, so they'll take an oral progesterone to sleep. And then they have vaginal dryness still, so they'll do a low dose vaginal cream. They're told to do testosterone cream, which you talked about. 5 different products. Like if you have to combine all this stuff, is it really a solution? And
Right.
it's not really getting your levels up. And most women still have
They still
symptoms.
don't feel great. Yeah.
Feel great. And so mine is a vaginal cream that
Say
goes,
more about this.
so it goes right into the bloodstream. And I know everybody's like, wait a minute, I've been told that vaginal is not systemic, it's only local. And you've probably heard that too. And so the difference is these really low dose vaginal creams, they're such a micro dose that they don't go into the bloodstream because there's nothing to go in the bloodstream. It just kind of goes into the vaginal tissue and kind of plumps them up a little bit. So you do get some relief from pain or like the glass feeling, the shard feeling that you're having.
Yes. Yes.
But we don't want just like, I don't want to just give you pain-free sex. I want you to have better sex, right? Or, sensitivity, lubrication, ease to orgasm, like all the things that we need too. We don't just get what we deserve. And so it's not, the vaginal cream is progesterone and estrogen, and it raises systemic levels up to what will treat all of your symptoms: hair loss, great skin and hair. Anxiety gets better within like a few weeks. Depression gets better, sleep. And you only need it with like a pea-sized amount of cream that you have to put in every
Wow.
day.
So this really replaces all these other things and yet is supporting exactly what you're talking about in terms of the need for actually more estrogen, not testosterone
Yes, and progesterone. So
and
you're trying to
progesterone.
get these like exactly. So you're getting in the right ratio, and you're doing it like with a simple, like something that women don't have to like do 5 different things with. And the beauty is that we talked about testosterone when we first started.
Hmm.
All the other products, pellets, injections, creams, like they have the risk of getting your testosterone too high and making your weight gain worse. Everybody like comes to me, Dr. Daccarett, why did I gain weight on HRT? Well, maybe because your testosterone's like, even though the labs are not picking it up or whatever, I don't want it, like labs are so misleading. They're causing so many problems for
That's
women.
such a big, right, because it is a moment in time.
It is a moment that it's like, look, you're gaining weight and getting bloated because your body is probably making too much testosterone right now. And you need to lower that and block it. And Chinese herbs do it really well, actually.
So you've really kind of cracked the code and figured out, like, you've kind of blown up all this other stuff that we've been told. And your product of inner balance is really around exactly that. Like, I love the name of that because that's exactly what it is. It's an inner balance and all the things that we've been talking about. What if you've actually just been missing these core pieces, especially as we get older? And
Yes.
it's not like we're putting anything in that's foreign to our
No,
body. It's what it actually wants to be able to
actually
provide.
the most natural thing you can do.
Right.
Like, we don't make herbs. Our body does not make turmeric and black cohosh and
Right.
chamomile. Like, we
Right.
don't make a plant. We
Right.
make these hormones like naturally, estrogen and progesterone.
Right. So if we can actually use something that helps us to continue to promote that, that's where you're, I mean, there's, you talk about like quote unquote biohacking or anti-aging. Like what we're really doing is giving ourselves more of what it needs so that we can have that, not just the physical symptoms, but also the longevity.
You nailed it. I mean, like we, if we can keep in it, and one thing that it does is it really keeps your immune system healthy. Like we see autoimmunity, mast cell disease, histamine in women, rashes, and like we are getting, we say that the gut is the root cause, but I would argue that the low hormone is the actual root cause causing the crappy gut that's then making you know what I mean? Like, progesterone and estrogen play a huge role in digestion,
Yep.
mucin production, preventing
Yep.
leaky gut, the gallbladder health, the liver health, like all of it is hormonal too. And so if you don't have like a intact digestive system, you're going to feel like a leaky gut and SIBO. And guess what causes SIBO? That's testosterone. So like we could get back, but
Yes.
women need to know that like progesterone converts to testosterone in women. Like we make our own testosterone. So if you want to have the most personalized hormone replacement therapy ever, you want to let your body make the testosterone itself instead of
Yes.
me giving it to you. Like if I give you
Yes.
testosterone, I tend to might overdo it as a physician. I might give you too much. And it's not that these physicians are trying, they're actually trying to help,
Right.
right? They're getting
But
women
if you're
to,
actually giving progesterone and that transfers it into the amount of testosterone that you need for your body, then it's going to respond in a way that you want it to versus too much testosterone, which is very likely causing a lot of the issues that we're having.
yeah. And like you're starting at the top of the pathway, like the progesterone converts to testosterone and that converts to estrogen. You're letting the pathways in the body have more control. Like you're letting your body be its intelligent being that it needs to be.
Yeah.
And then if you have too much, and then your inflammation, it will lower that inflammation and and then you're less likely to have weight gain when you start HRT. So this is a thing too, that's like, it's all over the internet and women's really big concern. I don't want to start HRT. I'm worried that I'm going to gain
Yeah.
weight.
Yeah.
This will help reduce that side effect because you're not going to get too high on one of the hormones. So women,
But if people are doing HRT with their doctors or their OB/GYN and then your vaginal cream, does that work in conjunction or is it really like
a replacement.
it's a replacement, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like ours is better. Like don't take that one and this one. This was an alternative. Like,
Exactly.
and it's new. Like women come to us and they're like, well, I can just get this from my doctor. It's like, no, you can't. This is like, so women need to understand that people are looking at, I am looking at this space and innovating and trying to be like, how can we do this better for women so that you feel better and have less side effects? Because this testosterone thing as we age is really impacting our weight and our immune system and our
Exactly.
hair health. Like women are like, I tried HRT and my hair fell out. It's like, because
Right. I mean, I hear that all the time. But like it just is tricky balance that they've always felt like it has to be like it's almost like this or that. So in your cream, like let's talk ingredients and how like whenever I would talk to my doctor about hormones or whenever I've talked to doctor about hormones, we're always talking about side effects and things like that. So talk to us about what a woman might experience and what you actually put in that type of cream or in your cream to ensure that there's no other stuff that's going
yeah.
on.
No, it's true. Like, so I would never use it. I'll only sell you or give you something. I would never use it. I would want to use it myself, right?
Right.
When I originally developed the cream, it was for my own problem. I just want women to know that it was originally just to make myself feel better. And it was something that I was only going to put in my body. And vaginal progesterone has hundreds of studies. Literally, we give it to pregnant women to maintain pregnancy. We give it to them for fertility. Like we know how safe this is. And we know that the vaginal delivery is one of the most effective ways. It's being ignored. But so I was only going to do the best for myself. And I want women to know that, like, I definitely have that in mind for them, that the cream is, we source it from this plant-based estradiol from soy. And then we only use a national pharmacy that's FDA regulated and inspected. And then the progesterone is micronized progesterone, which is the best to get into the body. Progesterone is actually really hard. So if you're taking yam, it doesn't work, right? Like we don't want
Yes,
to actually
yes.
take yam progesterone cream. We want the micronized one. It's superior. And then we put it in a base that's been studied for vaginal health, right? We want to keep the microbiome healthy. We want to keep the pH healthy. I suspect that you'll want to use this for years. So we want to make sure that sensitive tissue that we're taking care of that. And we don't actually absorb the cream. So there's no parabens and fragrances or allergens or anything like that. But we do discharge the cream a little bit, right? So you see that come out, but the hormones absorb. And so we're trying to maximize like, hey, let's get the hormones into the body without getting like anything else that you don't need in there. We
Oh,
don't do
so
fillers and
yes.
preservatives. And like, I promise that like trying to really like just give you the hormone that you're making and that's it. Um, and if there's companies that say that they put it in oils and put it on the skin, women out there, it does not go through the skin. Like you are just getting it all over your children and pets and husbands. It's not like it's not going through your skin. Like I don't like care what oil you put it in or what base, like it doesn't go through the skin. So that's why we try to be as like, this is as natural as we can try to be for you. Anyway, so then the cream is applied once a day. You can put it on any time, for example. And this is the idea we start you at a starting dose because I
That's what I
cannot.
was going to say. How do you know the dosage? And are they working with you directly to be able to figure that out?
So
Or
women, so I want so like this is really interesting because women like they go to the other doctor and the doctor's telling them we'll come back quarterly for lab tests and we'll change your dose. They're not doing they just give this an impression of personalization when that's not really personalized. If I take you on as a patient and I test your labs and I force your levels into a reference range that has barely any research around it, how is that personalized? That's not
right.
personalized. That's pushing you into a reference range that may not even be right for your body.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Like your body's like, well, that's not my reference range. Like, why do I have to be in that reference range?
How
Right?
would
Like,
people
I know
know
what you,
this?
huh?
How do people even know this, right? That's why it's so
They're,
important what you teach.
yeah, and thank you. And they're like being told though this. They're like, so they get this impression that they are getting a personalized care
Right.
from the lab, but the lab is actually forcing them into something that's actually not right for them. Instead, we need to be looking at symptoms. It really is a clinical thing. If you're losing your hair and you have acne and bloating and waking, like we know that is
Regardless of what the blood work says, that's
Bloodwork's
not
not going to pick
working.
it. It doesn't pick it up. Like they'll
It's not
show the
working.
testosterone's normal, and
Yeah.
and like so. Anyway, women need to know that there's no way to predict your dose. So if you started with us, I can't predict what's right for you, but I can put you on a starting dose that I know has worked for thousands of other women. So this starting dose is like a good place to start, and that's what we need to do. We just need to get started, and you need to trust that I just need
That's
to
the
start.
way we do food too. We get
That's
them
what.
started and then we listen to how we're responding because I hate to say this, but there is no magic macro or calorie counter that any nutritionist has that can tell you exactly how much food. There's no it's like
I love it.
vibes. The man is just it's just the man behind the curtain.
I love that. That's so funny. That's like, and I believe it because you have to get started somewhere. And women are like, well, I don't want to mess up my hormones. I'm like, sorry, honey, they're already messed up. Like, I'm like, you're not going to mess up anything. They're already
Yeah.
messed up. Like, look, we're just going to try to make sure that they are stable. Because right now, like, especially in perimenopause, they could be all over the place. Like one
Right,
minute you could be high and low and whatever. We're
right.
going to get you stable, get the brain to stop like freaking out and like ovaries. And then after that, you adjust for 3 months. So I want you to get adjusted to the starting dose, and you can have some bleeding or intermittent spotting, and you can have some breast tenderness. And then this goes away. We recommend some supplements to help with this metabolism in the breast. But then after that, at month 4, we can raise it. And typically women want to go up. Usually they're like ready. They like love how they feel. They want to get even more energy, sex drive. Like the mental clarity, I think, is one of the most important things for women. They want to feel like they aren't forgetting words. This brain
Yes.
fog, we want this to go away. Sleep is a really like sleep, brain fog, and weight loss, I think are like the top 3. But anxiety and depression, they go away. They go away
Yes.
within a couple of weeks. It's the
Yes.
kind of the energy and weight loss that takes the longest. And this is we raise the dose at month 4, and from there we can optimize. It's like you said, if the what I raise it to on month 4 is too much for you, our experts will work with you to kind of back off a little bit,
Well,
or
no,
like
yeah,
so
yeah.
we can adjust the cream. If you could put a patch on and a pill on, there's no adjusting that. That's like a set dose. You can try to cut the patch, but even then, it's like the lowest dose possible. So like people usually want to go up because they're not getting their symptoms covered with the patch. So with our cream, you have the ability, like I want you to be in control. Like you're an adult woman, you're like 50 years old, like you know better than anybody and you know better than any lab test and you know better than me. Like you're gonna one day, weeks on the cream, you're thinking about it a lot more than I am. You're
Yeah,
thinking about every day how you're feeling and you're
yeah.
gonna know whether the dose I gave you is right or not, or a little bit less,
I
right?
love the empowerment. It could because I think the problem with women health, and I think you nailed it when you said like we're 10 years behind, but we also have just within our entire culture around women, we have disempowered us from believing that we have any say or ability to have say in what our bodies need. And so often we are dismissed when we talk about the symptoms, the things, and you said a few different times, I believe them when they say they've been trying all these things. And I always say to women, I'm like, it's not that you have failed, but the industry makes us believe that we are failures. But what if we just haven't been given actually the right tools, resources, information, support, and empowered thinking to understand? You can't fail when you weren't actually given the right tools to succeed.
I 100% agree with you that like we are telling women that they're the problem when we have failed them. We have not given them, we have not given you the right hormone replacement therapy up until now. Like, I mean, I really truly believe mine's like one of the best, if not the best, like
Yeah,
right.
and I've said we have not given women the knowledge about how to fuel their bodies until now.
I agree.
And
Like actually,
I love this conversation because I literally say all the time, waking to the symptom of health and hormones. I've got the health piece in terms of nutrition and the body part of that. And you've got the hormone piece. Like, and obviously both of us do both, but like to me, these are the puzzle pieces that every woman needs to be educated on. And then I always say, when you know, you can do. And then you can start to make decisions. But I love how your philosophy is around the feedback comes from the woman, not waiting for your doctor's appointment for them to run some tests that don't actually represent necessarily what you need.
and I love that you're bringing it up because like women, why have I given this control away? Like, why do we do it?
But we didn't know we could ever have it.
People love to tell women what to do with their bodies, don't we? We love as a society to tell women what to do with their bodies. Like you can see it with the birth control and like I mean, we absolutely want women to have, we don't want, and it's not that we don't want women to get better. And I say we, meaning society, not like you and I, but women need to understand that when we don't give them the information and we tell them that like, so for example, we tell them that their own hormone estrogen is dangerous for them, and that the risks are too great and I won't give it to you. This is no different than just suppression of women. Like if we keep them away from knowledge and what's better for them, we're suppressing them. And so if women relinquish this control and like they don't believe their own body and they believe lab tests from a really expensive like company, and they believe that over their own intuition, they're relinquishing this like power and control over their own aging journey, which they get to choose how they age. And like I refuse to do that. I'm like, I don't care what's going on out there. And everybody's like just forming these communities and talking about their symptoms and they're all in it together. Not me. I'm not going to feel like you guys. Like I'm not going to go through menopause. And so like I think women need to have that attitude of I'm actually going to be in control of it. And you know, for example, cars. It's literally the most dangerous thing to do these days. Is get on the highway in your car.
Yeah.
But the benefits outweigh the risk.
Yes.
Right? So like when we talk to, you know, we're like, I'm not ever going to tell a woman to stop driving. That would be suppressing her because I would be like, oh, I'm concerned about you. I don't want you to get in an accident on the highway, so we're not going to let you drive. We care so much about you women that we're not going to let you drive because it's so risky, right? We don't do that. That's suppression. So why do we tell women, I'm not going to give you estrogen. It's so risky. There's like this really, really very minuscule, maybe not even possible risk of breast cancer, but I care about you so much and I care about what you do with your body that I'm not going to give it to you and I'm not going to let you feel better because the risk is so great. Even though there's all these benefits, you could have like the life you want and feel the way you
And
want, look the way
that's
you
so
want.
crazy because the risk really is minuscule. You like it, like
It's
I don't know.
probably
I have such a hard time even explaining it because the last thing I want to be like, there is no risk because I don't know, right? Like you just never want to make blanket statements, but really you got to just understand like your body
never been
wants it.
shown. It was always like a mistruth. It was always
Right.
a lie. It was always fear
From
mongering.
like
That
one little study that was
it
done that
even
was
But that
totally
study never
inappropriate.
actually, it never really actually showed that breast cancer
Right.
was caused by estrogen. And so like, you know, it's like and so we're suppressing women. Every time we tell them that their hormones bad for them, we continue to this story. So I don't know, it's kind of like
Every
an,
time we tell them just eat less and exercise more.
or that we're, like you said, not giving the information about I just don't think people understand the diet thing.
No, no, trust me. This is why I do this. I mean, so Sarah, you're just it's like I love, love, love this conversation. I'm so glad I get to introduce you to my community so that they can see this other piece of this because it's not what people are talking about. You're really disrupting the women's health in a very important way. And I love that it started with your own story and that you needed to figure out for yourself. And when I always say our purpose on earth is to serve others. And so out of heartache and difficulty, often comes a solution that then you need to share with others. And that's exactly what you're doing, which is why I wanted to make sure we could share this with others, because you offer such hope and a solution that nobody else is really doing. And so let's share with everybody how they can connect with you, how they can get more information about this revolutionary way that you're really working with women.
We're 100% online. So it makes it easy. We're at innerbalance.com. So www.innerbalance.com. And we're in 40 states. We'll soon to be in 50. And you can buy our products online. Like, for example, if you want the hormone replacement therapy, you can buy it. And then we make sure that we follow up with you later. So we don't leave you hanging. You're not just going to buy a cream and then get it in the mail. So we are experts.
Not like a TikTok shop purchase.
No, exactly. It's not transactional. We definitely want to make sure that you're doing well and that your journey is good. We send out information. Before you sign up, you can also reach us on our website to ask your questions directly to our experts, and they'll help you to see if it's a good fit first.
Oh, that is so great. I love it because you're about solutions and education. And I think that that's really what women need today. And that's why everything I teach is about education, and the people that I bring on have that same philosophy. So, Dr. Sarah, you're the best. Thank you so much for being here. I can't wait for women to be able to experience just the benefits and all of the results from what you teach, how you teach it, and why you teach it. So thank you for being here.
No, thank you. Thanks for the time and the conversation.
Yeah,
So
we got a lot more to do together. Thanks.